Motaz spoke out about this too. I didn't even realize like I feel kind of bad that he like saw this, but I guess he sees a lot of stuff online nowadays. But initially, Ethan and Hila apparently have been talking about like sending me to Gaza, and like they've made a joke of like I've talked to Palestinian journalists and they've like wanted me to come out, and I can't get any security assurances against Israel, obviously, and that's like the major reason why it is incredibly dangerous. It's not because of like Hamas or anything. And these guys still like make a joke about it. And I think that joke plays a very nefarious purpose of making it seem as though I think in their minds, they're just basically saying like, oh, you're too much of a pussy or whatever. But the underlying hidden premise there is that like Gaza actually is totally safe from Israeli bombings. And I don't like that. I don't like that because it's like basically a thinly veiled threat almost, where it comes across like a pager joke. You know what I mean? It's not a war zone. It's very different. Okay? You can go to a war zone. It's like almost like an individually crafted, like, I hope your pager goes off type joke. They know what they're doing. It's also funny when they dick ride Israel so hard, but they're also like, yeah, go ahead, Hasan, see what happens. Yeah, that's what Israel, yeah, exactly. So they had posted
People
this.
want to stand by their principles. They want to be these heroic advocates, but they don't want to risk anything.
Mm-hmm.
Hasan.
That's such a funny thing to say, by the way, in terms of like, they don't want to risk anything is such a funny thing to say about pro-Palestinian advocates in general. Not for me in particular. Also, you know, any material financial loss, deplatforming, threats from the federal government is nothing in comparison to like the existence of the average Palestinian in Gaza. So all of that stuff doesn't really matter, but it's a weird thing to say when you're a content creator personally, and all you do is yell at other content creators for at least demonstrating a little bit, like a fraction of the moral courage necessary to speak out against Israel at a time when people like Ethan and many others are actively trying to not only deplatform every pro-Palestinian voice, but also specifically get them, like get the Trump administration to pack them up, right? So yeah, like what are you doing? You've done nothing. All you've done is spend every waking moment just shitting on pro-Palestinian voices. Like that's your advocacy. That's where your advocacy ends, and that's where your advocacy begins. But it's crazy that he just like that part aside. It's just genuinely crazy that he's just like, why doesn't he just go to Gaza? Oh, it's because he's afraid of Hamas. It's like, no, dude, I'm afraid of the regime that you're defending that has literally killed like 70 plus journalists in 2024 alone. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. And then they'll turn around and be like, well, other people have gone to Israel. It's like, yeah, exactly. I know. Patrick Beverly talked about how he was going to the beaches in Tel Aviv as Israel was pummeling Gaza. That's what happens when you're in a state that is doing settler colonialism, that's engaging in the in-group doesn't get harmed. Yeah, no shit. Like Sex Pestany going to Israel is not the same. He went with Eilon Levy, the Israeli spokesperson, the former Israeli spokesperson. You think the conditions are the same? Anyway, yeah, zone of interest.
Should go to Gaza. And if he doesn't, he should be severely judged by his audience for being a total fucking coward. I mean, it's part of why I judge
him. He doesn't know shit about that conflict. He's never been to Gaza, never been to Israel. He doesn't know shit about it.
No, he doesn't.
He does not.
Yeah. These people said Yoav Gallant was a good guy, by the way, like a couple months ago, and then had to apologize in deep shame because everybody was like, what do you mean? He's literally a defense minister, Yoav Gallant, who famously said all of the Palestinians, like, we're shutting off their food, their electricity, and their water because we're fighting beasts. That was a week into the Israeli.
Not. But he talks like with such authority. Oh, my God. You would think.
Yeah. I mean, This is also a ridiculous assessment to make, because not only is it an ongoing issue, not only is it an ongoing conflict, but I have had people who have survived it. I have survivors on this stream, and I also talk to journalists who are literally directly in the crosshairs on a daily basis that inform my perspective. So not only is it wrong on that front, it's also entirely stupid as an argument to make. It's like, okay, I know about the Holocaust. I didn't visit. I didn't see it with my own two eyes, but I learned about it. I read about it. You know what I mean? Like, what a ridiculous statement. I know about in South Africa. I wasn't alive when it was happening. Same with World War II, but it doesn't matter. You know, you can inform your perspective by reading and learning. And especially as it pertains to like ongoing conflicts in general, yeah, you can still get a pretty solid assessment on the situation, on the morality of it, on the ongoing conflict in general by, you know, talking to people that are there, journalists that are there, relying on NGOs that are constantly documenting these atrocities.
I think he's been there like 5 times since October 7th.
You sound like someone that needs to talk to Sam Cedar.
Yeah, Sam Cedar, another one I'm ready to burn.
They got smoke for Sam too? God damn. Anyway, I hadn't even seen that last part of this video. I said, God damn, these people are unbearable. It's so strange that this audience thinks it's a meme to go to Gaza. Are they not remotely curious as to why Western reporters can't get in? Are they aware of how many journalists Israel has killed? Is this all they do now? Is what I said. And I posted the Reporters Without Borders document on it. Journalists targeted, killed, newsrooms destroyed, internet and electricity cut off. 1 year in Gaza, how Israel orchestrated a media blackout on a region at war. And I also posted my interview with Motaz Azaiza, who is a survivor. Like, this is a man who was a photojournalist from Gaza who escaped Gaza. So I have talked to people that inform my perspective directly. Like, I've hosted them. I've talked to them. I don't know why. Like, what have these people done? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And Motaz saw it, and he quote tweeted it. He said, I remember my conversation with Hasan when he hosted me in his house for an interview. I saw how much he was moved and wanted to learn more from the people who've lived in Gaza. It's, of course, impossible for Hasan and others to enter Gaza because of restrictions from the Israeli occupation. The only way for the world to see and hear the truth is through the eyes of the Palestinians who document the constant Israeli crimes or lived under the occupation. We're all being censored or deplatformed some way. Thank you, Hasan, for refusing to be silenced by ignorant people. I hope one day we can welcome you in Gaza and in a free Palestine. Doubt that this will be mentioned on the H3H podcast in any capacity, of course. I'm sure that this was not mentioned in their subreddit because that would go against their we're pro-Palestine, but we hate everyone who's pro-Palestine position. You know, it's so gross. It's so gross that this community still acts like they're pro-Palestinian and pro-this. This is all they do. Their entire commentary around this thing, around this ongoing genocide is just like talking shit about people who have something to say, you know? Anything that breaks away from this like carefully constructed narrative, this hug box that they've cultivated, is considered unacceptable. Like, let's not pay attention to it. Yeah, that was a brief note I wanted to talk about here. But yeah, there's a new New Yorker article that came out finally. When I was going to the Bradley Martin Zoo Culture Gym, the journalist that was with me for an entire week. And this is like a profile / like a broader analysis about like bro-y content creators and like what the future of the Democrats look like for a lot of people that have felt like the Democratic Party. Do you just cover lib articles about you? What do you mean? The New Yorker magazine is a pretty reputable institution. Like, they spent a lot of time and effort putting this together. What do you mean? Hugbox doesn't even come close to the hug dimension they made for themselves. Yeah, I was getting shadowed by Andrew Pretz, who wrote the article. You are not leaning them left. What do you mean? Like New Yorker magazine readers? I'm not leaning them left by a profile? Is that what you're saying? Bake Frame, good luck to your endeavors on doing agitated propaganda on your own. I'm sure that you will report back with the endless success that you have done in this field. Okay. Thank you for instilling class consciousness by coming into the chat and being like, you're not doing enough. I try, you know. I hope you are too. I think this right here is probably a really good step. Is a step in the right direction in terms of creating class consciousness. I think like immediately all the wages are going to turn around and be like, yeah, we need to rise up. We need to rise up against our masters. And you know who the biggest master is in this circumstance? some random Twitch streamer that I dislike for not being sufficiently left-leaning. I agree. Thank you. So they don't mention you have a huge queer community. It just sounds like a bunch of juiced up dudes. I mean, it's fine. But there was a subtle slight against, not so subtle slight against the offliners. I got to end the broadcast here. He said shortly after 8 p.m. I'll see you tomorrow. After turning the camera off, he seemed to deflate a bit. Comments were still floating up on one of his monitors as thousands of fans in the chat dwindled to a few hundred. The inner circle who were devoted enough or lonely enough to keep one another company after the feed had gone dark. The Democrats are smug and condescending, and everything they say sounds fake as shit, Piker said. Trump lies constantly, yes, but at least people get the sense that he's authentically saying what he's thinking. Lonely enough. God damn, offliners getting slaughtered out here in mainstream press, dude. What is going on? Lonely enough. Offliners found dead. I love this part of the article. What is this? Mamma mia, he said on air. This is the first day where there will be no Italiophobia on this broadcast. Already his chat was full of spaghetti emojis and free Luigi. Piker walked a fine line, celebrating Mangione as hotter than me and speaking in generally exalted. What is this? Sitting in his desk, a screen share of whatever he's looking at on his computer in his chat where fans supply pertinent links, caps lock shit talk, and puppy emojis, all surging in real time up on the right side of the screen. Stavros Halkias, a comedian and a friend of Piker's, told me he's built up enough trust with his audience that if he's being boring and academic for 40 minutes, they'll stick with it until he starts doing something more interesting, playing a Japanese dating simulator or whatever. It's true. That's the goal, baby. That's the purpose. But hey, listen. It is funny that that one chatter was like, you're not sufficiently moving people to the left. Not true. Gaming is the most uninteresting part for most. Shut up, socialist pig. Yeah, Jason made it into the New Yorker article, obviously, and so did Bradley Martin. This is pretty funny. Jason made it into the New Yorker article. Twitch stars often appear on one another's streams, hoping to pick up some new fans. One afternoon, Piker headed to Zoo Culture, a gym in Encino, owned by a streamer and fitness influencer named Bradley Martin, to do a collab. It would also feature Jason Wynn, a 20-year-old Twitch star from Texas who goes by Jason the Ween. Bradley's a big Trump guy, and we talk politics sometimes, but mostly we just talk about Jim Bro shit, Piker told me. Jason probably leans Trump, if I had to guess, but his content isn't really political at all. I don't lean towards anyone, Wynn wrote, when reached for comment. I don't want anything to do with politics. Wait, I didn't say Jason probably leans Trump. That's crazy. That was a misquote. Did I say that? I don't think that at all. By the time we got to the gym, Wynn was already there, performing for the camera by flirting with a woman on a weight bench. Is Jason rising right now? Piker asked. No, I think that was a misunderstanding. I was talking about Bradley, who was leaning towards Trump, not Jason. Anyway, yeah. By the time we got to the gym, already there, performing for the camera by flirting with a woman on a weight bench. Is Jason rising right now? Piker asked. Martin, who nodded. Is it working? Piker asked the woman. She replied a little bit before she left. She gave Wynn her Discord. So a team sat with you for a week and then dump over the entire purpose? What's the point? Wait, what do you mean dump over the entire purpose? Guys, this is a 56-minute article. Do you understand? Like, looking at a couple snippets here and there, you are not like make you out to be a terrible person. Is that what they did? I literally have not read the whole thing, but I doubt that they did that. I don't think that they did that. It took Mike all day to cover it. The article was terrific. Yeah, what? I listened to the whole thing. It's actually not very clear if it's positive or negative on you. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, not everyone is going to write glaze articles, dude. It's okay. And there's always going to be some pieces. There's always going to be some parts of it that are like misquoted, you know? It's, dude, you have to remember this is, you have to remember, like, this is over the course of like a week. Like, I was shadowed for an entire week. Also, let me keep a $150 with you, okay? When mainstream media writes about me and doesn't call me a like Fox News, I'm good. I'm happy with that. So, any plans to cover Serbian protests? Yeah, I will. Yeah, you're missing one thing. This article is mainly about losing the white young men voter base. Exactly. Isn't this just the writing style of the New Yorker? Yeah. Is liberal so they paint you as silly sometimes? Like they say that you sometimes blame everything on capitalism. Yeah, they also mentioned anti-Semitism.org as an activism group. It's fine. Are you going to talk about the U.S. begging American or European countries for eggs now? Yes, we already covered it. There's something called an informative article, chatters, but also American media just has an inherent tone to it, I feel like. Yeah. Guys, my positions, my worldview, you can see a few places where the editor's meddled. I highly recommend you read it and promote it, to be honest. You need more coverage like that. We will do that. I'm going to do some regular news coverage and then I'll get back to it. But here's the thing. Okay. My perspective, my advocacy, my worldview is outside of the confines of permissible speech in mainstream media. Okay. It directly goes against it. It directly contradicts a lot of mainstream media narratives because mainstream media is a firm, committed part of manufacturing consent and hierarchies, upholding the State Department's agendas. So in that regard, any kind of even neutral coverage with like some slight, subtle, underhanded remarks baked into it is still very good. My expectation is never that I'm going to get like incredibly positive coverage, and your expectation shouldn't be that either. You need to understand like the broader goals of the article also have to be something you factor into this. Like the broader goals of this article, especially in this current media landscape, is about how the white men have left the Democratic Party, like the dissuaded white men who feel jaded, who feel angry at the Democratic Party, like where are they? And can they actually turn back to progressive politics, or are they gone for good? Like that is what the purpose, the broader purpose of this article is. So in that regard, like, yeah, I just play one role in here. I play a tiny marginal role in this process. Editors also, yeah, there is a thing called editors that will greatly change the dynamic of an article. It's like kind of thing. An article that might have been written by a fan journalist, for example, can still be a rather contentious article if the editors themselves decide to change the direction of the article.